So CS2 is just released. You can download it and play it for free right now. It's basically open beta because they haven't really changed much. And one of the first things that any new player is going to mess with is going to be their crosshair. Although I came from CS originally, having played a lot more Valorant recently, my first thought was to try and use the same crosshairs that I used in Valorant. Two of the most popular crosshairs, or at least two of my favorites, are the dot and the cross. And while they are alright for CS, there's nothing wrong with them, I felt like I could use something else that was more appropriate. See, crosshairs in Counter-Strike tend to be longer, bigger, and gaps are used, which kind of led me to a theory or speculation about Valorant versus Counter-Strike crosshairs. You see, in Valorant it favors like tapping, bursts, and more precise shots. But in CS, it's all about like bursts or slightly longer bursts and spraying down. I just thought it was interesting to note these trends and look at them. And of course there's going to be overlaps, like you could spray in Valorant and you could tap in CS. However, the trends do tend to like stand out per game. You can just see it in all your games. If you take a look at any of your teammates in Valorant, probably gonna have like some kind of pixel crosshair, tiny ass crosshair, good for tapping, stuff like that. And then in CS, you're gonna tend to have like more boomer like crosshairs, you know, stuff that are bigger, stuff that are thicker, have bigger gaps, etc. Which brings up the question, why is it like this? Well, one big difference between Valorant and CS is that spraying in Valorant is not reliable because they have random patterns. So if you keep holding down mouse 1, eventually it's going to start being random and you just got to kind of feel it out and adjust your mouse accordingly. Counter-Strike has set recoil patterns and you can get away with spraying a lot more and you can get really good at it. So for those reasons, it's probably even easier in Counter-Strike to spray versus Valorant. Valorant in general is also slower. Agents move slower, guns shoot slower. So it's more controlled feeling and it feels more deliberate, your actions. While CS2 is a lot faster and it can feel floaty or wild if it's not fully under your control. One cool new feature that CS2 has in regards to crosshairs is the follow recoil feature. And if you didn't know, Valorant actually has it too. It's when you ADS. So the crosshair is going to follow where the bullets go as you're shooting. The only thing that it's not going to account for is like movement penalty when you're shooting. So it's going to go where your crosshair is for the most part, but if you're moving, it can still be inaccurate. So with CS2, I was thinking more like a new game, new me. Let me try experimenting with the new features, you know, go away with old habits like playing on 4:3, stretched res. I'm going to just play native. Game looks beautiful, can't lie. So let me see what this new follow recoil is all about. And in the end, I would definitely recommend it, at least worth experimenting with to see if you like it or not. Now with this on, if your recoil control is good, it kind of looks like you have no recoil and you stay on the target very easily and it looks nice and it feels good. If your control is off, you can just adjust or match the reticle onto the target based off of your feel or visual indicators. It's kind of like every time you die in any game and you're like, where are my bullets going? Well, if you have this on, you can literally see where your bullets are going and be like, okay, it was like barely off this way or that way, whatever. So when you're using this, I feel like a smaller reticle like the dot or the cross from Valorant would be better. Or you can use like some sort of in-betweener, like a hybrid, small crosshair with a gap, maybe something with like thin lines, little bit of a gap, so it's still a smaller crosshair, but it's not like a solid dot or cross, and you still have a gap to play with. In the end, crosshairs, this is all preference. It won't make you better per se, but maybe some can help you visually recognize faster what you need to do to adjust, and in the end, it could lead to faster aim. Another benefit of having follow recoil on is that it's really good for like every gun that is not the AWP, AK, or M4. It's also good for the AK and M4, but I'm talking about using like UMP, MP9, pistols, P90, etc. All these like other side weapons that you still have to like spray with, but you may not have the pattern memorized. You can be running and gunning and pretty much just keep your crosshair on them, and for the most part, it's gonna be good. Like, I don't know, and it's just fun to play with, kind of feels like a new game on its own for a little bit, so I would definitely recommend. Another thing that I noticed when I was using follow recoil is that my headshots got better, my tapping got better, my bursts got better, but my sprays were kind of ass, so I'm gonna have to go back and relearn spray patterns better, at least for the AK and M4. For the mid-tier weapons, it's fucking perfect. On that note, I wanted to quickly mention one last type of crosshair. So everyone's is usually static, but another kind of popular variation is the dynamic crosshair, which is the one that blooms and moves when you shoot. So it kind of shows your spread and your recoil. I don't know what it is, but some days it just feels good to use for me, personally. Although I'll probably switch off of it eventually, sooner or later. I would also recommend to try and experiment with this, as it could help out with your spraying. But if you could, I would probably use follow recoil instead of this. It's kind of obsolete and outdated, but don't be afraid to try it out, because who knows, it might feel better for you and visually help you during your sprays. So in the end, don't be afraid to experiment, try out different things, try out new things, and just have fun with it.